Alright, so here's part 2 of the PID controller. I got it all wired up now. I still have it kind of apart so that we can actually see the wiring. I probably should have left the wires a little bit longer so I could get things a little bit further apart to show them more easily. But again, I'm using a power supply, an old power supply off of a computer case. And this is the front side where I have the actual PID controller here. I have an outlet here, and this is where my thermocouple is going to plug in. And then the back side looks like your standard computer power supply to plug in there. I wired in this switch here just so I had a switch to turn the whole unit off and on. And I kept the existing fan from the power supply, but I flipped it around so that the air is going to be blowing inwards onto my my heatsink here that the solid state relay is hooked to. So if we look at the wiring, I'll try to look at the wiring. This is where the plug comes in right here. There's a hot and a neutral wire. There's also a ground, that's that green wire here. It goes down to the just attached to the case. And these two wires come in. I try to keep the color coordination together, so that's actually what took the longest, is just keeping all of my neutral colors white, and I wrapped them in white tape here, and then also my hot wires black. But we also have within this unit we have both 120 volt AC and 12 volt DC going on. So when it came to the DC circuit, I stayed with that color scheme too, where positive is red and negative is black. So anyway, back to kind of trying to follow this. It comes in, the hot wire goes down to right here on my switch. That's my line receptacle on the switch, and right next to it is the load, so that's the black coming back out. That's your hot wire coming back out. And then of course we got the neutral, or the white wire, coming out there too. And you can see all my whites are tied together, all the neutral lines, and several of the black, the hot wires, are tied together because we need to provide power to both the PID unit and also to one side of the solid state relay. So the way this works is we got this black wire here is coming off my switch. So I got, that's hot all the time. This wire here is coming into the back side of my PID controller. That's what actually runs the unit, gives it power. And then my other hot wire is coming into one side of the relay so that I have power here. The idea is when the PID turns on, or turns on the relay, that this relay will close, and then we'll have a connection between this hot wire, which means this wire here on the other, show that better, on the other side will become hot when it turns on, which will provide power down to my outlet that I'm going to have my, well, in this case it's going to be a melter pot plugged into, but you can pretty much plug anything into there. So the only thing that I haven't really showed yet is, well, this is what the relay is actually controlled with 12 volt DC. So that's this one. There's positive coming out of the PID, and also negative coming out of the PID. You can see I have two wires on here because I'm also running my fan off of there. So these are just the existing wires, came from the fan. I had to splice them here because they weren't quite long enough, but otherwise I just wired into positive and negative on the 12 volt on the relay. The idea is when the thing turns on and closes, the relay activates, closes this circuit, this fan will also come on. So anytime this relay is actually working, the fan will be on, blowing air on the heatsink. I also have, not like this yet, I have a ground, of course, coming out of my outlet. That just comes all the way back here and ties into the same ground that the plug attaches to. And last thing, let's see if we can twist this around here, is my thermocouple. There's also positive, negative on the thermocouple, and those just attach back into the PID as well. And you know, the wiring for this is actually, I just followed the directions mainly. So these are directions that came with the PID. I'm using it in the thermocouple setting here, so you can see that I have AC power in 910, thermocouple attaches over here, we saw that, and then we can see that this is just our output, positive and negative to the solid state relay, and we looked at that. That's right here. So that's all the wiring. It's all wired up. So I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to put everything together, and then I'll test it out.